Hello there everyone, now today we're reviewing another Flame Prisma kit. Actually, so last month we reviewed, I think, two, if I remember that correctly. Sorry about that, I'm a little confused. Now you think since they made G1 Prime, they'll make a G1 Megatron, and they did. As of December. I do have it in my collection, built and worked on. I will show that off a little later. I'll see when. But we will talk about the IDW Flame Toys Furai FURAI. I'm not gonna say it properly; it's hard to for me. So the Flame Toys model kit, and now as you may see, the Decepticon version. Now the thing is, there are two versions of this kit. There is a Autobot and Decepticon version. Now the only difference is the sticker. Yes, the only sticker for this one kit. And I did buy this at Hobby Lobby for 40. Sorry, 50, it says 55 up here. But I did buy it for half pricing. And I will say for the pricing of it, it's already pretty good. It was half pricing. It was 40% off, so I bought it for that. And I would say with the back, I don't talk about the back as much. I wish I did. But I will say, if you do want to get contact, if you have a broken part or anything, it's back here in the box, which is good. All you gotta pay if you broke a part, lose a piece, have where you bought it, show the part you're missing, and show what happened to it. That's what you need to do, and they'll send you a new one. All you gotta pay is like $4, but it's like 30 Hong Kong dollars. But it's like $4, which is pretty cheap for a part. And I will say this is a good model. We'll take a close look at everything it comes with, and I will point out some things I think it needs, especially if you're paying a master grade pricing for it. So yeah, let's look. Now here's IDW Megatron, which is a good looking model because compared to the actual picture of it from the comic, that's fantastic. It only comes with four different, or like two pairs of hands, so two fists, two open hands. I wish it came with a hand to hold weapon. I will say one thing that the thing lacks is weapons. I know you get fusion cannon, however, and I had to look it up. In the comic, or the IDW version of him, he did use other things other than his fusion cannon. He did use maces, axes, swords, and other stuff like that. And that will be a point of contingency if you want to buy this figure, because you are paying 55 to, depends where you get it, for a basic figure basically. And what do you get? Only hands, which is my only problem with it because you don't get that much. And these are not like the other flamethrower figures because these use these things instead of ball joints, which is also my concern because especially if you want to change down the hands, it takes out the whole socket, and then you need to pull it out, and then you need to put it back in, which is not the easiest thing to do. And then there you go, which is not my favorite part about it. I wish it was on a ball instead, like for the entire arm. However, I don't know if that's really worth me complaining about. Now, one thing I will say, the uses, it screws, i.e. in the legs. It uses them mainly in up here, because it is really not tight. I would say not too loose or tight, but I would say the articulation is a double jointed knee, double jointed arm, which is pretty good. And we'll say there's a lot of detail on this small kit. The foot does pivot. It is a ball joint, and it does move up and down, which is actually pretty good. And I will say one thing I do like is this thing thigh right here will go back, like it caves in, which I find that very interesting. And I did panel line it. I use markers, pins, whatever, to get spots. The head is on a ball joint, so you can see. You can look up that far, look at that far, and the ball joint. The arms are kind of its own thing. Because it uses shoulders, basically. Instead of like doing a prime thing of like, what it does like a Gundam thing. A good thing to do. It does what the RX Master Grade does. It does the whole, it's a separate piece from the shoulder. Well, so that means if you want to wiggle it, you can. Which is pretty cool. And it is a little extended, which right here you can't see so well. And I would say that's actually pretty good looking. I don't know my favorite part about it, but I don't know. Certain parts of it are my best. Oops, I put the wrong fist in. But if you're careful about it, you can pop it off carefully. And I will say, when you put more detail into it, it looks fantastic. That's one thing I will say. And I will say the cannon is actually pretty good looking. Let me just pop it off. And it is very, very good when you put it in. So it's very tight within the arm. It's just a basic 3-piece cannon. It's just 3 pieces put together, which is pretty decent. It's not that bad looking, which is hard to do, I'll be honest here. The arm can go for 360, and it is on a ball joint technically, so it could go this far, and the shoulders do get, or the shoulder pads do get in the way of going up too much, which makes sense why. Because this is a hard figure to do without having an actual toy of it. Because I don't think we even have the LiQWDY version of this version of Megatron. With this version of him, you can see he's this tank. We get the treads, which I do like how that looks. You do get some articulation within the top, and you do some articulation, like some new detail. Not that much though. And it does do this, so be careful with it, extremely careful, because that's very worrisome for me. So be cautious, i.e. right here within the hip area. That's a very cautious area. And I will say certain parts of this is not easy to put in. Like this part, you need to snap that in and push it in from behind at the same time. And these do go up. Which makes sense, because it does get out of the way for certain things, which I think is pretty good looking. And there's a lot of detail you could probably do. This part right here, it shows as they give you as a sticker. I just decided to use the pen, and it works. Now let's do some size comparison, because I think it will look pretty good when you compare it to some of the other flame toys. I do have the other ones near me. Here's a high-grade Gundam. Here is Commander Tyrotron, a third-party prime, which trying to compare to these two is kind of hard to do. And here's the G1 prime. Now the height differences are there. You can see. However, I don't think you can just mean that's from comics to something that is G1 inspired. I'll just have them out in the corner, because it'd be easier to show off some of the size comparison. Here's Starscream, which I did do more work on. Focus camera. So yes, and here's Bumblebee, one of the smaller characters. And I did hear that they will make a red version, which means it's a cliff jumper. They're gonna make cliff jumper basically, and so they're gonna make a few more characters. They're gonna make a Black Arachnia, and also I think it's pretty good for getting more characters that other than G1 or whatever else. Now let's get to my final thoughts if you want to buy this or not. Now, should you get this model kit? I mean, yes and no. The thing is, it's flawed because it barely comes with any accessories for what you're paying for. If you're gonna pay that 27 or that 55, I was hoping to get more out of it. However, I can see when you look up more about this version of Megatron, and there's so many versions of this character, of him turning to a bomber, to a Cybertron tank, to being him a gladiator, to a Endron miner. It is so weird to have 3, 4, 5 different versions of Megatron, but having all different types of modes. And thankfully, we only got one of them, and if you have all of them, I can see them doing a Energon miner one. I see that with a lot of detail work put into it, and I can see a bomber version, which we did get somewhat, a transformable one to drop into review a while back ago. But if we have one of those at the market, I can see that be looking good, but I can see it being also being stylized. But since we have one version of Megatron, I find this version as good to okay. Even though he looks fantastic, I wish he came with more accessories, came with more hands, because since G1 Prime is 45, right? He comes with his axe, he comes with his he comes with the ion blaster, he comes with 4 pairs of hands, technically 5 of them, and you're paying $45 for it. The G1 Megatron has 4 pairs of hands, and that's all it has. And some gap fillers to fill up some parts in case you don't want to show off some of the gaps, which I kind of makes sense. But you're paying $45 for that one too. So why in the world are you paying $45 for a G1 version of Megatron or Prime and getting way more? But also you're lacking way more when you get to the more expensive models like this one, which is $55. And even when you gotta pay $100, this is a good point because Devastator, I have in my office or my closet, he is $100. He's $100, and he barely comes with anything. All he comes with is 1 pair of hands, 1 pair, technically 2. 2 pairs of hands, and that's what he gets. Nothing more. You don't get to take up the roll cannon thing at all. Where's his blaster at? These are cool figures, but if you're going to pay that 45 to 55 to 60 to 100, I better hope to get more. I get it with the cost of some of these kits. They're expensive. But if Gundam, yes, I know I do this. I try not to do this too much. But with Gundam, you're paying for a high grade between 20 to 30 or even 10 or 15. And you get extra hands, extra accessories, extra parts, weapons, beam effects, and extra IC for 20 to 30. And with Master Grade, you're getting sometimes a stand included. Hell, that one came with a stand, and that was $55. Well, you can't see that side. Sorry. That one came with a stand. And when certain characters come with stands or don't come with stands, that's not good. But with these, I hope with later releases, they give us extra hands, in case they, if they're going to do a G1 or a comic version or a cartoon version, any iteration of the character, give us more stuff for the pricing. It's like Shockwave. He comes with a pointing hand for both sides, and no handgun of himself at the mini version. Soundwave come to Ravager, but he does not come with the other batteries that he can turn to his gun. That's not good. You're missing some accessories if you're going to pay these prices, and Wingblade is a good example, and I just bought her and built her completely. She came with 2 swords and 2 hands. 2 pairs of hands. And she was 60 if after tax. She was 55. That's as much as Megatron. And that's all you get. It's two person hands, and two swords. What else do you need or want? I would hope if you're going to do some characters from any other media, comics, whatever, give us more accessories. Not just that. I would hope to give us a little more out of these characters and what you're paying for. I love these things. I really do. But if I'm going to pay if I'm going to pay 100, or if I'm going to pay even more, please give me more accessories, or just have more stuff out there in case you want to say, oh, I want to have my Megatron with a sword. Or I want to have the Megatron with a mace. Yes, the purple mace he has. Why not give us those? I get it if you're going to make the cost a little more for the company. But if you're going to pay $5,500, whatever the pricing is, make it so you're paying a good amount for a pricing that you're getting nothing out of it. I try not to do this, but this time I have to, and I love these things. But I'm trying to be more reasonable with how these things are. And we're going to do certain characters. Please, give us something. Or do what Gundam does sometimes. Give us a weapons pack. Do that. If you have to sell some of the weapons individually, or some in a multi pack. If you're going to do the Decepticons, okay, you could do Soundwave with the hand with the pistol he has, Megatron with his pistol, Megatron with his mace. How about a sword? How about other things that comes with it? And you can sell that for $20. I wouldn't care at that point. But give us more than just a basic figure, a little accessories, and that's it. Sorry guys for going on a little rant. I'm just trying to make it like I want to keep a mind toward these things. And yes, when I get on to Wingblade, Soundwave, Megatron G1, and Devastator, when I get to those guys, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And I already told you what they're lacking. There's even more they're lacking. But that's what I want to point out and what you're going to not get. So, what do you think, guys? Like and subscribe on Discord. In case you want to know where I am on my social medias, that will be in my link tree, which is going to be in the description. I will also put Megatron as well in the description in case you want to know where to buy it. They don't sell this version of Megatron anymore at a Hobby Lobby. They have the G1 Megatron and G1 Prime. And I will say I do not have the G1. Sorry, I don't have the IDW Prime. I don't have one of those. The only one I did see is a clear version, and that's like $100. I'm not gonna pay that part. Sorry. Look, I love the money as you do, but that's a little too much. It's a clear version of the same kit, but no. I want to find some older kits too, so in case you want to review them, it's for y'all. Trust me, I would like to do that for y'all. So, have a good day, y'all. Peace out. What?